Relatives of those who died in the 1994 Chinook disaster on Mull of Kintyre will meet ministers today for the first time in more than 3 decades as they continue their campaign to find out the truth behind the crash. Major Chris Doherty, whose dad lives in Suffolk, was one of the 29 people killed when the helicopter came down. And his sister, Nicola Rawcliffe, who lives near Diss, will be at the Ministry of Defence today. I spoke to her just before we came on air.
Today's meeting is, as you say, quite a historic meeting because it's the first time we've been able to meet the Ministry of Defence in 31 years. And we have, in fact, yesterday published another 200 questions that need to be answered. So we now have over 300 questions that have not been answered in any previous inquiry. So we will be going today to look for answers and to ask that we can have a judge-led public inquiry without having to go to a judicial review.
OK, and just tell me a bit more about why you want that specifically.
Because there is a lot of evidence that hasn't been heard before. We have got leaked memos and, in fact, all the evidence that we have has been is available on our website, and as I say, with all these questions that are unanswered, none of those were looked at when there have been the previous inquiries.
So 31 years must feel like this is a very long time coming for you and everybody else involved.
Oh gosh, yes, absolutely. And I mean, there are some widows who have been campaigning since day one, so for them, extremely long. I mean, the campaign group formed together, the 25 of the 29 families formed together when we heard about the documents being sealed for 100 years on the BBC documentary.
Yeah.
So for the last 18 months, we have been campaigning really hard, and these last 6 months, we've had such an excellent media coverage. And so, you know, we have cross-party support in Parliament. We've got our petition that's heading towards 52,000 signatures. And I think this is all been putting pressure on the Ministry of Defence for them to say, right, well, we'll meet the families. We just need them to give us our judge-led public inquiry that we're asking for.
And I'm conscious, just for those that might not be aware of the Chinook disaster, can you just tell us a little bit about what happened? I know it's probably very difficult for you to talk about, and I don't want to...
Yes, there were 25 passengers who were all top security intelligence from the British Army, MI5, RUC, and 4 top Special Forces RAF crew members. They boarded a Chinook helicopter, which we now know to be unairworthy. In fact, the Ministry of Defence had not allowed their test pilots to fly it the day before, and yet they allowed 29 people to board the aircraft. So, yeah, the helicopter left RAF Aldergrove to go to a conference at Fort George. It wasn't anything in the line of duty. It was just an A to B business meeting. And the helicopter crashed into the Mull of Kintyre.
And you lost your brother. Just tell us a bit about your brother.
Yes, yeah. Chris was 33. He was due to be married in the October of that year. He was very a sort of an infectious smile and a contagious laugh is how a lot of people, his colleagues, would describe him. He just got on so well with people of all walks of life, and so he was just generally, well liked by everybody, and also was doing very well in his career. So with marriage on the horizon, he had an awful lot to look forward to.
And obviously your brother who you adored, and that's why you continue to fight.
That's right. That's right, yes. And I have two other siblings as well. And of course, my father, who is just 96. So he is very much, he just wants to know why Chris wasn't given the option of not boarding that aircraft. Why, if they knew there was something wrong, and all the evidence points to that now, that he stepped aboard that unairworthy aircraft.
Back in the summer, the MOD said the crash was a tragic accident and that their thoughts and sympathies remain with the families, friends and colleagues of all those who died. But the accident's already been the subject of 6 inquiries and investigations, including an independent judge-led review, and that the early release of this information would breach these individuals' data protection rights. So with this in mind, do you think you can be successful with what you want?
Yes, because those inquiries mainly were talking about the pilots, and we were clearing the pilots' names because they should never have been accused in the first place. We have evidence that wasn't shown at any of those inquiries, and this evidence, as I say, we have on our website. And so that is what we want to an independent judge-led public inquiry. And as far as the documents that have been sealed, any personal information can be redacted. To seal them for 100 years makes us think that there is a cover-up. There's a reason why they've done that. And as I say, that we have got evidence, written evidence, to show that it shouldn't have left the ground. Therefore, a judge needs to go through all of these papers and documents that we have.
Why do you think the ministers have agreed to meet you? And do you think that ministers will listen?
I think they've agreed to meet us because they can see that we are getting a lot of support behind us. We had, when we handed the petition into Downing Street with 51,000 signatures on, we then had a briefing for MPs. And we have a lot of cross-party support. There was a debate in Westminster a couple of weeks ago, and I think with the Hillsborough Law going through Parliament, and in fact, that is one good thing, that at the meeting today, we've got 3 MOD ministers, and we also have the Victims Minister, who's responsible for getting the Hillsborough Law through. And so we are very much hoping that they can see the Chinook crash as a test case for the Hillsborough Law to show the duty of candour and to hold the MOD to account.
And Nicola, is there a specific outcome that would make you feel like the meeting's been a success?
Yeah, if they can, we do not want to be dragged through the court with this judicial review. The only reason we've gone to a judicial review is because the MOD and government said we could not have a judge-led public inquiry. If they say, OK, you've got new evidence, we will grant you that judge-led public inquiry, then that would be brilliant. And we then don't have to go down the judicial review route. That can be stopped. It's in the process at the moment. And if we can get our judge-led public inquiry, we will get our questions answered. And then we will get to the truth of the matter.
How has that lack of resolution affected you and other families over the years?
There hasn't been able to be closure. As with any death, it takes a long time to grieve and come to terms with things. But we haven't been able to understand why our loved ones lost their lives when there was no need for them to have boarded that aircraft.
And if you don't get the outcome that you want?
Oh, we will keep fighting. I mean, obviously, if they don't give us a public inquiry, then a judge-led public inquiry will have to go down the judicial review route and hope that a judge looking at the documents we have submitted will overturn the government's decision and then allow us that public inquiry. So that's what we're heading towards all the time. We're a very strong group, and we will just keep campaigning until we get that public inquiry.
Nicola Rawcliffe speaking to me before we came on air. Her brother, Major Chris Doherty, was killed in the 1994 RAF Chinook crash. Is